And you can see the timer there, 1 second, 2 seconds. Okay,
Yep.
so we are live, and we're just a couple minutes past the scheduled time.
Okay, give me a little good old boy.
Okay, we got the good old boy here, Blaine Young, absolutely. And so we're just going to be talking about live streaming and how this whole setup works.
Absolutely.
This StreamYard setup. And what I envision is you'll have a little more room where we ultimately set up a studio.
Sure.
You might have a studio where you could have 4 guests.
Well, what's missing in Frederick is a live daily distribution of what's going on in our society.
A TV show focused on Frederick County.
Not only a TV show, Craig, but there are citizens that witness things every single day on the street, in the meetings, Board of Education, City of Frederick, Thermont.
They could be citizen reporters.
There are. We are going to be the opportunity for people to express their First Amendment of what's going on in our community. We're not going to place judgment. We're not going to say this is right or wrong. But if it's videoed,
you want to find out what's going on.
Yeah.
Now, let me show you an aspect of this streaming. See here, this guy made a comment. Okay. And see, notice how I can show it up on the screen.
Sure.
Buying Rolex in Frederick reality show. This guy's a Rolex fan. Okay.
Yeah,
so
love
obviously,
Rolex.
you know. Okay. So, yeah, Colonial used to be a Rolex dealer. I don't think they're a Rolex dealer now.
I don't know
anymore. I don't think they are.
I didn't hear that. I'm surprised that they're not.
I heard they might not be. But anyway,
Jeff Hurwitz and Colonial Jewelers have been a Rolex dealer since
forever,
the beginning of time.
Yeah,
but
Rolex has been pulling some franchises lately, so I don't know what's going on down there.
That's you know, Rolex. I believe in them, but at the same time, they've had some issues about keeping accurate time.
Well,
what I've heard
compared to my Grand Seiko with the spring drive, correct.
That's right.
So
it's a more of a status symbol than it is of keeping perfect time.
That's correct. But they're good solid watches, and people like them, and they make a statement. So what we can do is we can do broadcasts just like we're doing here, where you and I are sitting next to each other. We're live. Well, yeah, this gentleman's watching. So if I hit this button here, that goes to a close up of you. I should have pointed that camera down a little bit. Don't have you framed perfectly, but you get the idea. We could have close up cameras on each guest. You see what I'm saying? And then you have the wide shot, right? And then, you know, if you have a switcher, this switcher here only has 4 different shots, and one of them I'm using for the laptop. Okay, you could have a switcher with like 8 shots.
Absolutely,
they make the same thing with 8 different options. And then what we have here for audio is we just have a mixer that's like right in between those those things. It's just a field mixer.
Well, we need to put the word out that Craig and Blaine are going to put on a daily, maybe every other day show.
We better start once a week.
Well, we'll start once a week. But here's the fact is that there is nobody giving fair, accurate, balanced news in Frederick County.
Okay.
I mean, God bless the Frederick News Post. But the fact is the staff has been decimated.
Well, that paper was bought out a long time ago.
Well, sure it was. But that's what I'm saying. The staff's been decimated.
Yeah.
They can't produce the ongoing news. We need society's help to upload videos, tell us what's going on. We can give commentary, but we want to give feedback to those that.
Well, yeah, and people could come in live from wherever they be. You can come in with a phone on this.
Sure.
You can.
That's what I'm saying.
See, I could even put.
But there's nobody that knows. Craig, how long have you been doing this?
Well, I've been doing Frederick.com 25 years.
That's what I'm trying to say.
Wait, a long time.
That's what I'm trying to say. Let's talk about Frederick News Post is sold. How many sales has WFMD, WFRE been through? 5, 6? Jim Gibbons Radio, AM, FM, Capstar, Clear Channel. A new company. WFM or WAFY. The Eagle have been through several sales. Now back to the Manning family. Frederick News Post now sold. The Gazette gone. You know, who delivers daily, unbiased, unfiltered opportunity just for what's going on? Why do people get on Facebook every single day? Why? Because they want to know what's going on in the daily lives of people.
Now, you get a lot of engagement on your Facebook.
Sometimes yes, sometimes
you post things.
I'm without question, Craig, the most controversial individual in this county by mistake. I don't mean to be. I don't want to be.
I'm kind of right there with you. They never liked me much.
Never liked me much either. But you know what? We both like this county. We like this city. We like Thurmont. We like Emmitsburg. We like
see. When I moved up here in 1999, I saw a beautiful place with a tremendous opportunity for the small businesses, the local owner-operator businesses, to really do great things and band them all together and everybody benefit, right? And I got some traction for a while, but I got a lot of the incumbents pushed back, and I was the outsider.
Got a lot of accusations.
The Chamber of Commerce didn't want to work with me. No. I went to some of these folks in the beginning before I even launched the site, and I just went over the concept. And you know what they told me? They said, well, the internet's not going anywhere.
Yeah, right.
This was 1999.
Yeah.
They said, what are you talking about, internet? Nobody uses the internet. So what can I do? What can I do with that? I mean, I had to do it myself. I had to build the damn website. So we've got Lost Spring Bar in the house.
You built it. You've done it.
This guy giving Craig a makeover some nice tips and a goatee. There you go. Absolutely. And Kyle's in the house. He says, quick. Okay, quick. What do we got to do quick, Kyle? Come on. You got to give us more details than just quick. So you notice how people can interact live?
Sure.
And you can show them right on the screen. Okay.
What ain't quick? I mean, today's Saturday.
Same thing is, if I want to invite somebody, let's say somebody had some hot news and they're somewhere.
That's right. Upload it. Give it to us.
No, right here. Look here. Invite. I can copy this link. Okay. I can literally put it right here in the chat. Right.
Let's do it.
And somebody can click on that link and they come in here, what we call the green room. They come in, they pop up here, and then you decide if you want to add them to the broadcast. Right. And so they could literally join with their phone live from something that's going on. Right. So this is this program, this StreamYard program. What I got was there's a free version, and then this is the pro version.
I love it.
And this gives you a lot more functionality. Yeah. It gives you more functionality. So
you've done more for expanding the horizons of internet presence in Frederick County than anyone I know. Yes, Frederick News Post tried, WFMD tried, but still, you're on Frederick.com.
Well,
you saw that vision.
To them, the internet was a redheaded stepchild. Well, they didn't take the internet seriously.
I remember you telling me that the Yellow Pages would be obsolete. I don't get it, Yellow Pages.
I haven't seen one for years now at this point.
But I'm saying I remember that statement from you.
Yeah.
The Yellow Pages will be obsolete. Everyone will go to the internet to find out how to contact someone.
Yeah.
You're right.
Yeah. And it's just getting started. It's just getting started.
I think it's just getting started in the expansion of how that develops. But is there Yellow Pages being produced?
Not really. There
you go.
And here's the other thing, Blaine. And you mentioned when you came in here, you mentioned the Bitcoin thing. Well, a lot of people have misconceptions about Bitcoin.
Yeah.
Bitcoin is simply an independent monetary system that the government has no say in the matter.
Sure. Okay. So it's a way of commerce.
They can't control it. They can. If I have some Bitcoin, okay, first of all, they don't even need to know I have it.
So let's break it down. So it's like me having some eggs that are chicken laid.
If you had $100 bill in your pocket, Blaine,
Okay.
and you went to Joe Schmo and you said, I want to buy, $100 worth of whatever, and you give him that, you hand him physically hand him that $100, it goes from you to him. It's a bearer instrument. Okay. Now all of a sudden you don't have it anymore. He's got it.
Sure.
All Bitcoin does is that electronically.
Okay.
All it does is it allows you to hand some Bitcoin, which has a value.
But I could hand you 100 eggs.
You could hand me whatever you want to.
It's just not a promissory note from the government.
It is.
It's true commerce.
It is a bearer asset that the government has no say in.
It's pure commerce. It's like gold.
It's like, there you go. It's gold.
Okay.
But it can be transported anywhere instantly using the internet. See, the downside, the downside to gold is it's not easily transferable from one person to another.
In the old days it was, not today.
Well, and also you can only break it down to such a small piece, right?
Sure.
You can only, get it down to some powder or whatever. Each Bitcoin is divisible by 100 million units. 100 million.
You get that.
So you can send,
you're a smart dude,
100 millionth of a Bitcoin to somebody. Okay. I could literally send a fraction of a penny's worth of Bitcoin from me to you. Okay. Instantly.
Unreal.
Right? Now think about what that's going to open up on the internet.
Well,
think about
it just changes everything.
If you've got a native currency that's native to
why doesn't the government like it? Because they can't tax it.
They can't control
it. They can't figure it. They can't control it. They can't tax it.
Here's the thing with the fiat currency, with your money that the government prints, okay, they can print as much as they want, right? They can devalue that money at will.
Yeah.
Okay, so what happens when they devalue the money? When they print a whole bunch of extra, trillions of dollars, what happened to all the prices at the grocery store?
It's just like make more cookies.
Price of gasoline, everything went up in price, right?
That's
because there's more money chasing the same items, right? So the price of the items goes up.
Yeah.
With Bitcoin, you can't expand the supply of it. It's 21 million units.
You get it.
Fixed.
I don't get it. You get it.
But think about this, Blaine.
You trust it. You can invest in it. I'm scared of it, but I get it.
But think about this concept. Think about something that is verifiable scarcity. That there's only 21 million. Only 21 million.
Could be units. 10 eggs left on the earth.
Yeah. So
I know what you're saying.
So
but you're a tech guy. You get it.
So, but here's the thing.
How much money you made off Bitcoin?
A lot.
Like how much?
Hey, I've been buying it for 10 years.
I understand, but
I started buying Bitcoin when it was $30 for one Bitcoin. You know how much?
You ain't lost no money.
You know how much one Bitcoin is now?
How much?
$28,000. So I started buying it when it's 30. Okay, you understand what I'm talking about here? All right. So, but my point is, here's the other thing. And then people say, they hear that and they say, "Well, I'm too late then. It's already 28,000. I missed out, right?"
It's like Walmart, McDonald's.
Here's the thing. Only 1% of the people own Bitcoin right now. 1%. We got 99% to go. So we're still early. They think, the internet.
Ask you a question. How'd you get here? How'd you get here?
Study technology.
No. Tell me your story. I want to know your story. Tell me CraigShipp's story. Where were you born?
Bethesda, Maryland, Blaine.
Okay, Bethesda, Maryland. Then how'd you end up here? How'd you end up in this?
When the internet came around, my dad was a computer guy.
Yeah.
When the internet came around, I thought that the internet might have a future. So I started buying some domain names, internet domain names, things like Frederick.com. Yeah, they can hear me. Things like Frederick.com. And I started buying a whole bunch of them. I bought racingcar.com, bought a bunch of them. So some of them I sold to make money, over the years. And so then I started getting into doing some websites here and there. And then I got the concept. I said, let's do a community website, a guide to a community using that geographic location.com.
Yellow Pages, whatever.
Like the first one I did was AnneArundelCounty.com. First one I did, right?
Lived down there.
So I just drove there from Bethesda and sold some sponsors. I went around State Circle there in Annapolis, signed up a whole bunch of sponsors. I was testing it. You're an MBA.
Yeah.
You got an MBA. I was test marketing. to see if the thing would work. Cause I was an
boom.
I was an automobile appraiser full-time at the time. I had a full-time job, a gig, right? I did a lot of antique classic cars, things like that. Did appraisals. So anyway, I had time. I went there, I did some testing, and guess what? The people signed up and gave me checks to be on AnneArundaCounty.com, right?
Like, holy shit.
And so, you know,
but I'm saying that's a real feeling. That's a
when they give you money,
that's a real feeling.
There's no better feeling in
that's
the world.
That's dopamine. Holy cow. I'm on to something.
There's no better feeling than somebody appreciating your work. You know that.
Yeah,
if somebody appreciates your work.
But you asked, you made it make sense. You asked, they cut the check. People, you showed the value, the benefit, and they cut the check.
That's correct.
That's life.
That's correct. That's correct. But then as I got into it more, I decided I wanted to do Frederick as a test case. I sold my place in Bethesda because I just thought it was a growing community. It was exciting to me. I knew something about Frederick County. I'd done day trips up here and all that, right? And I've always been impressed with it, right? So I said, I want to do a test market. And guess what? I bought a place with some acreage in Urbana. You know what happened to Urbana after that?
I've been there. I did.
I saw what Urbana was going to be. This was before all the building happened there. Before any of that, right?
Do you know who came up? Do you know? Back up the story. Do you know who really planned Urbana?
You?
Nope.
Who?
Have you ever heard of a newsletter called Kiplinger?
Oh yeah.
The Kiplinger family actually bought that section of Urbana.
Okay.
Kiplinger invested in it because they saw the thing about it is when you look at Urbana, Linganore, Monrovia, people saw this split of 70-70.
Okay.
So Kiplinger invested in it, but they got tired with trying to figure out how to make a development work.
Okay.
So they sold it with investments back based on development rights to Tom Natale.
Okay.
So if you go down to Urbana, they not only pay property tax, but they pay an HOA tax based on the investments with the infrastructure, water, sewer, streets, roads. But it's interesting because you have the Natale that bought it from Kiplinger. You have the Welcome family, and then you go over to the Brocious brothers. Mm-hmm. People don't realize with Lake Linganore, Urbana was planned in 1978 by Kiplinger.
Okay.
Brocious brothers planned Lake Linganore in like 1972.
Gotcha.
And Lake Linganore is only at like 30% of what they planned to be today.
So it's not nearly as successful as Urbana.
Well, they saw that because you got 70 and 270, and they saw that divide, workforce, people jumping on the road and things of that nature. So what I'm trying to say is what I used to tell the people: if you want growth, live in that area. If you don't want growth, come to Thurmont, come to Middletown.
Yeah.
Brunswick has changed because there's a big investment with an annexation. But if you don't want growth, but that's why you see so many people bypassing Thurmont and they go to Adams County.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
They go to Waynesboro because they know that this is an area that's not really, it's not negative, but they don't want the growth. So they go because why? Pennsylvania doesn't tax retirements.
Okay.
So when you go down to Eastern Shore, a lot of people go to Wilmington and other areas.
A buddy of mine went to Delaware.
Yeah, Delaware and Pennsylvania doesn't tax retirement. So that's, different story. But I just was trying to figure out how the heck you got to Frederick, why you chose Frederick. And obviously.
And the other thing is I knew that if I sold my place in Bethesda and I bought a place in Urbana, that I would front run that growth. So I bought a place with acreage in Urbana.
Cashed out.
And I kept it for a couple of years, and that area boomed.
Sure.
And so I sold that, and the profit that I made on that, I bought the place here and the place in Florida for cash.
Nice.
So that way I have no debt.
You're debt free.
No, nothing. Right.
You love the life.
So that's that. And I've always been debt free. I didn't even borrow when I bought the place there in Urbana. So I didn't borrow when I bought the place in Bethesda. I don't believe in borrowing money. I just don't believe in borrowing money.
But who made you so smart? That's not the American way.
I guess it's my dad.
Depression? I don't know.
My dad grew up in the Depression.
No, I'm just saying that's why.
Yeah. My dad grew up in the Depression. My mom grew up in the Depression. These are people that would take like the wrappings of something they get, that we would normally throw away, and they'll fold it up real nice and put it in a drawer somewhere, right?
Hey, back in the day, you take feed bags and make a pair of pants or a dress.
You might need it later.
Yeah,
right.
It's life.
So, but no, getting back to Frederick. Frederick still has an amazing opportunity to be just incredible. But we have to take the money, the control of the money, away from government. Wow. Government should never have been in the money business in the first place. They should have never been. The Jekyll Island, when they did.
Oh my God! You read that book?
When they created that monster.
I read that book. I can't believe that we're having this discussion. I just read that book.
When they did that, from then on, it's been
people have no clue about the power of the Federal Reserve and what was created.
It's been nothing but downhill since then.
I've got goosebumps because I can't believe you brought up Jekyll Island and the impact.
When did you read it? Recently?
Oh, just recently. Yeah. Actually, a friend of mine gave it to me, my boss.
You know that man? It took him 10 years to write that. The man that wrote that book.
No kidding.
10 years. That was
there's a couple different editions.
Work.
It's been updated.
This is the main 600-page, the monster one. But
the monster Jekyll Island is
the creature from Jekyll Island.
The creature. It's a tough read.
And it's true.
But I'm saying I have had, now for you, it might be easy. For me, I've had to read it and reread it. Actually, if you go to YouTube, there's some very good videos about the author talking about certain.
Absolutely.
Yes.
He's a genius.
That's the way I did.
He is a genius. And
unreal.
And that is the problem. See, what made this country great, in my opinion, before that time,
simplicity.
You look at the people that made this country great, the Carnegies, the Rockefellers. Look at these people that were titans of industry that got out there and made things happen. And there weren't a lot of people standing in their way. There weren't a lot of government bureaucrats saying, you got to do it this way, you got to do it that way. Right. And sure, they broke a few eggs to make an omelet, but the bottom line is, look what they did. They created the greatest country.
We break eggs to make kids. We break eggs to make friends.
They created the greatest country on the face of the planet.
How much time we have?
We will wrap when you want to wrap.
Well, I'm just saying it.
We'll wrap when you want to wrap.
I want to get you talk about the monetary issue, talk about the creature of Jekyll Island. Tell me what you think about what's going on nationally with Trump.
Well, he's a perfect example where if Trump could do the things that he would like to do, if the system wasn't so corrupt, right, he could fix the system. Mm-hmm. But the problem is the system is so corrupt. Look at what they're doing right now. I mean, they are, talk about weaponizing. I mean, they're throwing everything but the kitchen sink at this guy. And half because they'll do anything to win.
Because I think that he is picking off scabs that no one has ever been willing to pick.
Oh, absolutely.
So
he's an outsider coming into it is a swamp. It is a swamp.
So while I will never defend personally some of the things he's done, and I've done them. Mm-hmm. So I'm not judging. I'm just saying is we in America thrive on personal aspects versus viewing on the fact that he is picking off scabs that is just destroying the middle class and the lower class that's trying to achieve the American dream now has been diminished by ordinances.
Oh yeah,
permits.
If you look at,
could you imagine 1920 being told that you got to go file a permit to open up
well, can you imagine opening up a business today?
Yeah, I know.
What you'd have to go through. Most people can't do it. And this is what I went through with the whole COVID thing and all that. I lost a bunch of the sponsors on CraigShipp.com because during the shutdowns and all that, they were crippled.
Yeah, sure.
And I swear a lot of that was done to benefit the big guys, the Amazons, the big box stores, all these, they all stayed open.
Yeah.
They benefited tremendously from all of this stuff.
Because they're publicly traded.
They're connected. They're connected.
They're publicly traded.
Yeah, they're connected.
And they have the ability and the wherewithal to ship, drop,
well,
deliver.
But they can also influence the people that were doing all the lockdowns. The people that were doing the lockdowns decided which business could stay open and which had to close.
Never heard
and of course, the ones that didn't have to close were the ones that had the pull, the influence.
Ain't the first time we've ever been through this either.
No, it's corruption. And here's the thing. The only way, in my opinion, the only way you're going to fix it is if you take the money away from them. Because the thing that fuels all the corruption in Washington, D.C. is the money. Follow the money.
Great.
Follow the money. But that's how they do it.
I think if you limit the power,
that's going to limit their power.
Well,
you take
but I'm
away
saying
the money
is well, explain the takeaway, because I'll tell you my concept to take away the money. My concept is if someone serves in office and is taken away from their personal contribution to their family, they should get what's called a stipend, but they shouldn't get a retirement. They shouldn't get health benefits. In other words, when I served in the board of aldermen, okay, I'm 50. I'm gonna be 52 this year.
Young man, yeah.
Well, when I served there, I was 22.
Yeah, you were the youngest good old boy in Frederick.
I got 12,500 no benefits. I got a check for $300 or $400 a month after taxes. Now that same position is like 25,000 plus benefits. And what I'm saying is we can't, when you want, if you want to volunteer on Goodwill, if you want to volunteer on Salvation Army, you want to volunteer on Habitat, they don't come up and say you're going to get X amount a month and you're going to get benefits. You do it because you love it.
You care about the community.
Correct.
Okay, so
we have taken something that you should care about the community to making it a position with a check and benefits.
Let me give you a specific example of how we can take them out of the loop. When I say them, I mean the corrupt people, right? Okay, think about this. Let's say I want to buy some beef. Okay. And I go to a local farmer.
Okay.
And I say, I want a half a cow, whatever, right?
Yep.
Quarter of a cow, whatever, right? And let's say he accepts Bitcoin. Okay. And let's say Bitcoin.
Probably accept food stamps before they accept Bitcoin, but I get
I'm going to explain a circular economy.
No, I get it.
I've got this wallet, a Satoshi wallet.
Love it.
Here that's got $2,800 in it, 9 million sats. I could send this to him in a blink of an eye.
Boom.
I could send him some money, right?
We got
let's say he pulls up the same wallet on his phone and he hits receive. Okay, he get a QR code, which I then scan. I send him money. He gets the money instantly. Okay.
Yeah.
I get my beef. All right.
Okay.
Nobody needs to know that even happened.
Nobody's business.
It's just like I gave him cash.
Government wants to know because they want that tax.
But do you understand how
they want their steaks?
But you understand if we get a circular economy going,
I get it.
Where we're all doing business with each other.
You're going back to the Ben Franklin days.
We're doing business with each other, and nobody needs to know anything about it. None of their damn business.
I'm with you.
Okay? If enough people do that, you start defunding these SOBs. What can they do then? If they don't have control of the money,
well, they'll send us a cease and desist, or try to sue, or try to put the force of the FBI, federal government, IRS, whatever it is. That's how it works.
It's going to be messy. It's
going to be. Little blood's got to be shed, as Thomas Jefferson said, right? From the tree of liberty.
But here's the thing.
I read that, right?
Yeah. But here's the thing. For the first time, we've actually got digital cash. We didn't have it before. We had to do it. For the first time, we got commerce. We had to do it in actual cash.
Well, we've always had commerce.
Yeah, but we had to do it in actual cash, me handing you cash.
I get that. Right? No, wait a second. No, I agree with that. But a pawn shop was the first financial institution.
Gotcha. Yeah. Yeah.
And then we evolved from that because people want to feel something. They want to know something. You're right. This is what Bitcoin has evolved to, but people can walk into a pawn shop and take their gold, silver, musical instrument, weed whacker, whatever it may be. I get what you're saying, but that is not. Unfortunately, is the pawn shop is the lower tier.
Well, see,
Bitcoin is the above the tier of the bank.
It is a base layer money. It is a base, just like gold. It's a base layer money that we can build on top of that a whole community of commerce that nobody has to know a damn thing about. It's none of their freaking business.
They want the tax.
There's no bank. There's no bank account. There's no bank account. There's no bank involved.
Well, sure, they want their money. Come on, Craig.
So
come on, Craig. They want their money.
They're not going to get it.
You can't build a birdhouse without a $25 permit. That's what I mean. I agree with you.
I'm telling you, but we've never had this as a tool before. We've had other ways of trying.
Most people don't understand it.
We've had other ways of trying to push back against big government, right? We've had other ways in the past, but they're not that effective because they have control of the money, right? They have control of the money, so there's only so much
control of the money. They got control of the mail system. They can control the IRS.
They can go right into your bank account and take your money right out. Here's the thing.
Blaine, if the federal government wants to know where you eat, sleep, drink, and move your vehicle, they can figure it out if they want to make you a target.
Think about if you had something of value that nobody can confiscate. Think about how valuable that is. Remember the old days when I was a little kid, I'd watch these movies and
the old days, moonshine.
These guys would have Swiss bank accounts.
Yeah.
Right. Did you see the movie, the Thomas Crown Affair? The original one.
Yeah.
And he flew over to the Swiss banker and gave him suitcases of cash and he gives him a number, right? So on a certain day, you got to do that, that's the way it used to be, where you could have, if you were rich, you could have a Swiss bank account that nobody had to know about. So you could actually be self-sovereign. You could actually be self-sovereign, and you could have your own value that nobody can touch.
Yep.
That nobody can confiscate.
Yep.
They can come to your house with a freaking gold detector and a metal detector and find your gold that's buried in the backyard.
Yep.
Right. They can't find your freaking Bitcoin if you secure it properly. If you know your secret words.
But you know that.
Okay. They can't.
You're a savant when it comes to that type of stuff.
It ain't that hard though.
I understand that, but
they can't.
This ain't that hard, but you know how to do it.
They can't touch it. Just wrap your head around that concept. Wrap your head around the concept of you're in front of a judge, and he does a judgment against you and hits the table and says, "You $100,000, right?"
Mm-hmm.
And I don't have $100,000. What are you talking about? $100,000, right? And there's no record that you've got the $100,000 anywhere.
Bitcoin.
Anywhere. There's no record of it anywhere on any bank or nothing, right?
Yep.
What can he do? There's nothing he can do.
Blood out of half a nothing is, don't you?
What's
half a nothing?
That's right.
Nothing.
So what I'm saying is, it makes you, first of all, it makes you less of a target, because even if they think you might have some Bitcoin. See, I lost all my Bitcoin in a boating accident. I've publicly said that several times. I've lost all my Bitcoin. I don't know where it is. I had some Bitcoin on a wallet somewhere and I forgot the password. Right. See what I'm saying? There's no way they can prove that I've got any Bitcoin at all. No way to prove it. Right.
Okay.
So you can either have it or not have it, and there's no freaking way they can prove.
That's amazing.
If how can they prove a negative, right?
What do we got going on here?
They got people asking. Brad says Bitcoin is awesome. Durr's saying a bunch of stuff. Durr had almost 100K in his ass.
What?
$100 was that $100 bills, Kyle? Give us some more detail on that. But to throw you in jail, sure, Bitcoin won't help you there. I don't think so. I don't think they're going to be able to throw everybody into jail. See, that's the point. If enough people embrace
You're a Bitcoin guy.
Hey,
I'm an eggs and bacon guy.
More and more people.
Give me some eggs. Give me some bacon. You keep your Bitcoin. I want to eat.
I love eggs and bacon. But see, here's the thing. This is going to happen gradually, Blaine. It's not going to happen all at once. Yeah. Did you hear what El Salvador did?
No.
You talk about turning a place around. It was the a-hole of Central America, murder capital of the freaking world, Okay. You know what Bukele did down there a couple years ago?
Yeah. What? Tell me.
He made Bitcoin legal tender.
Damn.
And you know what else he did?
What?
He said anybody that comes there with their Bitcoin, no tax. Woo. No property tax, no capital gains tax, just a 10% sales tax on anything you buy there. There's a 10% sales tax, right? That's it. No other taxes, period, right? So guess what started?
You're a Bitcoin guy.
Guess what started happening? A bunch of people with money started moving there.
Oh, I bet.
And guess what else he did?
What?
He locked up all the criminals. All the GS13 dudes, all those dudes, they all had tats saying what they were, right? So he went and gathered them all up, 70,000 of them, and threw them all in jail, right? And you know what the human rights people said? Oh, you can't do that. No due process and all that stuff. Guess what crime's done there? It's down 95%. There's virtually no crime. It's the safest place in Central America now.
So I got agenda when we come back on the air. When you want to do this again?
We got to figure out what we're going to do, what show we're going to do.
Well, you got to figure it out.
Schedule it. We got to be consistent. I think we should start weekly.
Okay.
With a show. You can give me an outline of what in advance of what you want to talk about, and we'll
do every Monday, every Friday. What do you want to do?
We'll schedule it, and we will do a show. Yes,
we'll build from there.
Friday. We can do it every Friday.
Every Friday?
Sure.
We're starting this Friday.
Yeah. So what do you guys think?
What do you want to call it?
What do you guys think in the chat? Let us know in the chat. Should we
tell me
do
what
a
you want to call
show
it? What do you
on Friday? Okay, here. Look, Blaine. Can you give your thoughts on crime reduction, please?
In terms of what manner? I mean, I think that crime reduction, I think that if you don't put some fear in people, they're not, in other words, this is very simplistic. So my grandfather never liked you to wear a hat in the house.
Yeah.
If you walked in the house, he would smack you in the back of the head.
Yeah.
And the hat would fly off.
Yeah.
And literally, I lost like 3 or 4 Little League hats because I was scared to death to wear that hat. And not only get the slap, but just lose favor or upset my grandfather. So I think, the problem is with crime reduction is we've minimized I don't know if it's the embarrassment, and maybe that's not the right word, but it's
no shaming.
It's acceptable.
Yeah.
It's no big deal
to shoplift something. No big deal. You just shoplift something.
I'm not. I realize the world has problems, and I don't want to minimize the impact that if someone has a problem, they can't be a good person. But at the same time, if we don't put an impact on that, then it's no big deal. And it's a fine line.
Yeah. I think the way I look at it is this, Blaine. Again, what made this country great from the beginning? Property rights. Think about it. Property rights.
Without question.
Because people came here from Europe that couldn't own property. They didn't have the option where they came from. The lords and all these people owned all the property. Right. They just worked on there. They were sharecroppers, right? They came to America and they risked their life coming here. It was dangerous to come here in the 1700s, right? They came here because there were property rights.
Sure.
And there was a sort of rule of law. There was a respect of property, right? You didn't steal somebody's horse, they'd hang your ass. Okay. If you stole somebody's horse.
That's true.
So that's what we need to get back to. We need to get back to people actually have property rights. And you respect
property rights,
people's property.
There's some type of parameters. Our parameters are so skewed that certain parameters are no big deal. In other words, do you know overseas when you stole something, they would say they cut your right hand off?
Yeah, that's correct.
Do you know why?
Because you wouldn't steal something again. People know you're a thief then. They'd see you and they'd know you're a thief.
But do you know more importantly why?
Why?
Because you had to eat and wipe your butt with the same hand.
Well, there you go.
No,
Yeah.
no, I'm not being smart.
No,
but you don't realize toilet paper is an American creation. So they cut you ate with one hand and you went to the bathroom with the other hand.
Gotcha.
So when they cut the one hand off, you had to eat and go to the. I mean, I'm just saying is you got to remember. I'm not trying to like gross anyone out, but it's just a different culture.
I didn't hear that part. Yeah, I get you. I get that. Makes sense.
And everyone knew that. Everyone, you're right.
So guess what? You don't steal. There are still places over there that have that. They still do that.
But I
guess
always
what?
thought
You can guess what you can do at those places.
What?
You can be eating at a restaurant or something. You can get up and walk away and leave your cell phone sitting there, and you can come back an hour later. It'll be sitting there.
Well, sure,
because nobody steals anything.
Sure, I was over in Costa Rica seeing a friend, and I was in town, and I didn't understand the commerce. And my friend said, "Don't worry about it. They'll be honest because they don't want to be dishonest with you because they don't want the reputation because they want the tourism.
Yeah.
So they won't cheat you because they don't want the word to get out that they're a place that cheats people.
Because it's a competitive environment. They want you coming there as opposed to somewhere else.
Common sense.
Yeah. So, but we need to get back to that kind of common sense. We need to get back to the basics where people respect each other, where people have property rights.
Hold the door.
And, you know,
Thank you.
And of course, God
bless.
The most sacred property is, of course, yourself. So if somebody assaults you or something like that, that's violating your property rights, right? Yourself. And also your time. If somebody steals your time, that's just like property, right? And so we got to get back to those basics.
Absolutely.
And I think the fact that the money is corrupt is a big part of it. Is Blaine a beer guy or a bourbon guy?
I'm a Crown Royal Canadian whiskey. Actually, I got on to Crown Royal because a lot of people don't know Crown Royal was founded on the fact that King Charles, when he came to Canada, they actually developed a whiskey specifically for him, which was called Crown Royal.
Okay.
And then obviously it expanded from that point. So it's a Canadian blend whiskey. I don't have problem with beer. I like a light beer, especially when it's extremely hot.
Okay.
But I like my Crown Royal.
There you go.
You know, so if that's what, you know, who was that asked to ask question?
Okay. So that was, I think that was Durr also. Durr's got another, Lost Spring Bar has a question here. Can you let us know who Blaine is and what his interest and expertise are? Okay. So Blaine is he was, when I moved to Frederick, the youngest good old boy in Frederick. That was like 1999. What were you doing? Let's go back to 1999.
So I worked as director of sales at WFRE, which was locally owned, eventually became Clear Channel. I sold out. I'm going to give you my business career. Can
you start at 1999?
Well, 1999, I was serving it. I was working in the radio world, and I was alderman of the city of Frederick, which alderman is a German term, which is basically equivalent to city council.
There you go.
So then from there, I evolved, worked for Clear Channel for multiple years, sold out. Clear Channel went from, I think it's iHeart now, in terms of the radio division.
And you had a very popular radio show.
We had a good time. I called it infotainment, where we talk like we're doing today. It's
and
information.
It was right after Rush Limbaugh. It was right after Rush Limbaugh.
It started on the weekend. It went till midday. I had a yellow cab, which was basically I did yellow cab service. I did taxi cab.
And you were sponsors of Frederick.com.
Without question, you were essential, and we became the largest transportation company in Western Maryland. We had black car van. I opened up the limos. I had towing, I had detail. What happened was I was in a conference in Louisiana, and this is not demeaning, but some people got up and said, hey, these gentlemen are going to give you a presentation on a CRM, which is a customer relation management app, that could help you reduce dispatch time, improve customer service. It was Uber.
Yeah. Okay.
And people don't realize when I first started, when Uber came out, the taxis were on Uber. They allowed that. But the Uber was so disenfranchised because taxi cab industry wanted so much control and ownership, they couldn't see the vision. I saw the vision.
Gotcha.
And then what happened was Uber said, we're done with the taxi cab business. We're going black car. And they came after us. And then luckily I sold out. And then I got into the franchise world.
You got out at the right time. Yeah.
Well, I would like to have got out a couple years earlier. It's like the radio business. In the radio business, people thought the 8-track was the end. It wasn't.
Okay.
They thought the CD was the end. It wasn't. It was when people had iPods and they could program their own stations on a little computer in their pocket. So when people could actually do that and create 100, 1,000 songs, but
yeah, that's amazing what you can do with those apps.
Yeah, but you can never replace local weather and local news, and that's why.
And also personalities.
Well, so they depersonality. Correct.
Yeah, here's the thing: you got AI coming online, right? That'll write blog posts. That'll do, you name it. It'll do it, right? But it can't replace what we're doing right now. It can't replace Blaine Young.
No,
it can't. It can't replace the personal interaction. See, that's where we're going to be headed. That's the only thing that's going to survive in the media environment, in my opinion, is this type of thing: live, interactive broadcasts. Because
pure, unfiltered.
Yeah, because people
want authenticity,
and people are part of it.
But people want authenticity.
See, they love it when you put their picture and their comment up on the screen live, right? And you talk about
Thank you,
right?
Kyle.
They
personally, Kyle. I like Crown Vanilla.
Do you know what Kyle? Kyle.
You know Kyle?
Let me tell you about Kyle. Kyle lives in California. Okay.
Wow.
And he's been a fan of the YouTube channel for a number of years.
Mm-hmm.
And we had an event at Little Treasure Jewelers. They're one of my sponsors.
Where?
In Gambrills, Maryland.
Wow.
It's like an hour and a half from here. He has an annual event there, the guy Steve that owns it, right?
Okay.
Kyle Durr's from like Michigan or something. These guys are from all over.
Mm-hmm.
They flew in special to go to that event.
Kyle did?
Yeah.
So you met Kyle?
Kyle, yeah. And Kyle and I hung out in Sarasota. I went down to the Bitcoin conference in Miami, and
big turnout.
Kyle, 20,000 people were there. It was at the convention center there, Miami, a huge one. They had the whole freaking thing. Okay, so anyway, Kyle flew into Sarasota because he knew I had a place in Sarasota. He rented an Airbnb there, and after the Miami conference, me and Brianna, that's Brianna, we drove over and we met them.
Where's Brianna?
Right now she's in Miami.
Okay.
She travels a lot. So anyway, we met them in Miami and we hung out. And Kyle, his girlfriend Leslie is gorgeous. And they both came. And so we had a good time. And it wasn't just them. There was probably about 15 people that flew in to Steve's event from all around the country just because they watched these live streams. I was amazed.
Yeah.
People walking up and, good to meet you and all this stuff. I said, I can't believe you flew hours.
Well, Craig, I mean, you put a lot of time and a lot of effort into it.
And Steve puts on a nice event. He puts on a nice event too. So, but that's what you can do too, is you can have events in conjunction with all this stuff. So you could do a live stream.
You ain't done.
Just like you did the remotes at the Shell.
Yeah, but you ain't done, are you?
I'll help you out.
We got a couple years here. What's Kyle say?
I'm going to pass the baton.
Well, you passed the baton.
I'm ready. Okay. All right. Let's see what he says here.
Pull it up, Kyle.
I've been to the event twice, actually. Have to come again this year.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to be lit, Kyle. Okay. He was there too. Lost String Bar was there. That's not his real
Kyle,
name.
by the way, try the Crown Vanilla. Chill it lightly.
You know it. I'm ready. Okay. Right. So what were we talking about? We were talking about events. So remember you did the live events at the Shell?
You were there from the beginning.
Yeah. So you could do those kinds of things too with this kind of a setup. You just have to have a good, solid internet connection.
Yeah.
That's all you need to have. That's all you need to have. So okay, so
build this brand.
So do you know? I think it will be wild. It'll be good watching if, as Chip Ridgely would say, you know,
I know
Chip.
Chip very well.
So I think it would be hilarious if they convict Trump, but then he's still elected president. Okay, he takes the presidency.
I think they're scared to death to convict him before he takes presidency.
Then he takes the presidency. No, he can stake it even after they convict him. There's no law that says you can't be president even if you're convicted, right? There's no law. And so he gets elected.
A felony?
Yeah, that's correct. You can be convicted of a felony and still, the only requirements are you got to be 35 years of age or older. You got to be born in the U.S. and you can't have been a traitor in the Civil War.
Okay.
That's the only 3 requirements in the Constitution. So he gets elected. Okay. He can either A, pardon himself, or he can just, under article whatever it is, where the president can step down for a short time.
I think it is.
Whatever it is.
I could be wrong.
Article 25 or whatever it is.
30, yeah.
You know what I'm talking about. Where he's got a headache or whatever, right? He steps out for 12 hours. Then the vice president becomes president, right? So guess what the vice president can do then? Now that he's president,
resign.
Pardon Trump.
Well, that's the old Ford.
Because he would be president then, right? So he pardons Trump. Yeah, so he pardons Trump, but then Trump takes back the presidency, right? Because he only stepped out for a short time.
No, what would happen is that Trump would have to resign the presidency. Whoever.
No, he doesn't have to resign. He can just step aside for a moment.
He can pardon
under
himself.
Article whatever.
Nixon could have pardoned himself.
I think.
But the problem is,
it's unclear as to whether or not he can pardon himself. I think he can, but even if he can't, and Dershowitz talked about this on his thing.
It's whether or not you can pardon yourself of current or past indiscretion.
He can simply step aside and let the vice president come in temporarily. That's what they do when he has an operation or something, right?
Sure.
Temporarily, the vice president becomes.
There's very specific rules within Constitution about the vice president assuming the powers of president.
Yeah, but that could easily be done, though.
Well,
it could easily be done.
Yes and no.
All he has to do is have his doctor say that he's got to go under for whatever procedure, and then while the vice president is president, he just pardons him.
Good thought.
I'm just telling you.
The way you're thinking.
These idiots. These Democrats that are going after him, by the way, I hate them all the politicians, as far as I'm concerned.
Republican, Democrat,
it would take to blow them up. They're all corrupt.
There's a couple of Republicans.
Most of them are corrupt at this point. Most of them, because of the money. Follow the money. Right?
Well, it's not follow the money. Follow the benefits. Follow the retirement.
But that's all part of it. That's all part of it. If you can, here's the thing. You talked about public service, right? If you get elected to a position and they're paying you, let's say, $250,000 a year, right?
Mm-hmm.
Isn't that enough? For God's sakes, these people do
pay them $1.7.
These people do backdoor deals and all that. When they go out, they're worth $50 million. All of a sudden,
without question, they're usually worth 10x.
They've been a senator for 2 or 3 sessions. All of a sudden, they're worth $50 million.
But
where the hell's all that money come from?
I agree. What's he saying?
Follow the freaking money, right? He can present at Steve's event this year.
Who, me?
Yeah, there you go. All right, so let's see. Blaine needs a good watch, not a Seiko. He's got an Invicta on now.
Yeah, that's correct.
He's got a big, heavy Invicta on. It looks good, actually. I like it.
Thank you.
And you could use that as a weapon if you have to. Use that as brass knuckles if you have to.
So when we back, we're gonna wrap it up. When we back,
we're gonna we'll have to schedule it. Next Friday?
What are you calling it?
Yeah, we'll have to do it next Friday.
What are you calling it?
The show? I don't know. We got it.
The big show? What are we calling it?
I think it should be the Blaine Young show.
No, well, I don't think that's fair to you, though, because you have a lot.
It's going to be your show.
Well, but what are you disappearing? Like you're going to
Not yet.
Well, I think even if you're in Timbuktu, you got a microphone and internet connection.
Yeah, but first of all, we're going to have multiple shows. It's not going to just be one show. Okay. So you'll have your show. I'll have some shows. Okay. We might have a combination show. Whatever. You said Chuck might want to have a show.
No, I said I like to have Chuck on because I think that Chuck Jenkins, the sheriff of Frederick County, while again, you may not agree everything with his personal philosophies, I think that he has been a political target. I think
oh my gosh, yes, they're
the
trying to
federal
crucify
government
him.
has bared down on him. Let me tell you something. The federal government, if they want to, they can crush you.
That's my point.
They can crush you.
That's my point.
IRS, FBI,
that's why
CIA,
these people need to be what happened?
We lost what?
Oh, we lost one of our cameras. Wow.
Okay.
That hasn't happened.
So Chuck has been just decimated.
Oh,
I mean, he's 40,000-50,000 in the legal fees.
Oh,
and the man has
it's horrendous what they're doing.
I just, I'm not sitting here. I don't want anyone to defend me in my personal actions. I'm not defending him. But when it comes to what they're coming after him for,
it's insane.
It's just let's take this guy out.
It's the same as Trump.
Let's eliminate him.
It's the same as Trump.
Well, you know what? In fairness to Chuck, he's not like Trump. I mean, sometimes Trump will throw eggs when he should hold them. Chuck never threw the eggs. And what I mean by that is there's times
but he pushed back.
He pushed back.
They don't like that.
He stayed true to his beliefs.
They don't like that.
They don't like it. And a lot of people don't realize that this prosecutor is a prosecutor in the U.S. Attorney's Office that worked for Joe Biden directly, appointed by Joe Biden directly.
When they come after you, you have to cave. You have to cave.
Well, I hope he doesn't cave, and I hope he's the next U.S. congressman. I have told him, run for Congress, defend this suit, but run for Congress. But I said to him, I hope that this has opened your eyes to what this government can do to someone.
Oh, it's unbelievable.
That's innocent.
It's unbelievable.
Because you're innocent and you have seen firsthand what the financial impact can be and why people buckle and cave.
Well, that's what they do. They wear you down to where you can't fight anymore, and you got to do a deal. You got to do a deal.
That's how they do it, because they want the conviction rate.
That's what they do. And then they brag about that conviction rate.
That's it.
It is despicable. And Craig, it says battery exhausted. Yeah, I don't know why. I usually I check the batteries, but I just didn't. It's plugged in. It should be charging. But anyway, that's why we're on the other camera here. All right, guys. Thanks for watching. This was kind of a test and a demonstration.
Yeah. Well, we have 4 viewers tonight.
And
5.
so they've been coming in and out. Yeah. And but we didn't send emails out or anything.
No.
We didn't.
We doing it for Friday or not?
We didn't publicize this at all. So
we're gonna launch it
Friday, next Friday.
That's what you want.
What time?
What do you think?
I usually do 5 o'clock, but you said
5 to 6.
Does 5 work for you?
Works for me if it works for you.
Because these guys are used to 5 o'clock.
Light them up.
So yeah, and then we can make sure we add your Facebook page as a destination.
Sure. I like CB and make it free. CB and let's free. What do you want? What do you want to call this thing?
I don't know. You're the MBA.
Hey, you're the Bitcoin guy.
Well, we can't make it a Bitcoin show because they'll be scared to death.
Well, this is Bitcoin show. I'm just saying that we gotta.
We'll come up with a name. I think you just call it the Blaine Young Show.
Well, that's not fair to you because
that's fine with me.
Well,
that's fine. It's going to be
digest it.
Yeah, it's going to be your
marinate,
show.
Percolate, matriculate.
And Kyle says, "See you guys then."
Yep. Thank you, Kyle.
Kyle, be ready. Be ready. We might need a live report from Venice Beach. He's at Venice Beach.
Come on.
We might need a live report from.
We want uploads
from Venice Beach. All right, I'm going to switch over to the time. That's the time, the official time, and we are out of here, folks. Thanks for watching. Now I hit end broadcast right here. See that, Blaine?
Bam.